You have arrived at your destination.
Hey guys, before we get started, let me tell you about the most innovative approach to new music that exists today. Revival Recordings, an artist-first record label based out of North Carolina, has introduced Revival 52, a commitment to fans to release new music every Friday for all 52 weeks of 2018. From metal to pop punk to indie rock, Revival 52 will bring something new for you to enjoy every Friday. And right now, Revival is giving away a free Amazon Echo to one lucky fan once they hit 1,000 followers on their Revival 52 Spotify playlist. Just go to ffm.to/revival52 and follow the playlist to enter. Enjoy great music from your new favorite record label for free right now, Revival 52 on Spotify. That's right, Wildlings. You have arrived at your destination. It's the Sean vs. Wild podcast, and it's time to rock and roll all night and podcast every Tuesday. I'm your host, as always, the man, the myth, the Sean Thriller Smith, the guy putting rad back into talk radio. And guys, today on the show, I'm talking to my good friend and very funny comedian, Charlie Walker. This guy is out there night after night honing his craft in the Louisville comedy scene. We're going to be talking all about that today. We're going to be talking about our favorite comedians, what it takes to be a student of the game, and also we're going to be checking out his brand new comedy track called Keep Your Voice Down later on in the show. It's hilarious. Definitely don't want to miss that. Also, guys, big thing that we're going to be talking about here during the show is going to be the Tim Northern Comedy Festival. Now, that runs May 30th through June 2nd, so go ahead and Google all the deets for that, but you definitely want to check out the Tim Northern Comedy Festival, May 30th through June 2nd, and it starts off, and I love this, with a roast of Darryl Isaacs. You guys know Darryl Isaacs, the Hammer. Call the Hammer, man. But we're going to be talking all about that. This is a good episode. And really, it's a great distraction from everything that's been going on, guys. I wanted to say thank you to everyone for reaching out to me. As you know, if you know me personally, there was a family tragedy that kind of struck last week, and I keep sending your thoughts, your prayers, your good vibes, your well wishes, all that sort of thing here. I definitely know my sister and my brother-in-law can use them in this time and for many weeks to come, guys. So thank you very much for that outpouring of support to my family. We all definitely appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in each and every week to the show. And also big thanks, of course, to the sponsors at Audiophile Inc. Shane and Audiophile Inc. is going to give you the best deal in town, no matter what town you live in. And he's going to ship to all 50 nifty United States. All you have to do is go to audiophileinc.com and allow Shane to take care of all of your screen printing needs, shirts, hats, koozies, gym shorts, whatever you want, man. It's very, very hot in Indiana today. So 90 degrees. Yeah, so get you some track shorts with your stuff on it. Maybe that's what I'll do, some Sean vs. Wild track shorts. We'll see, guys. But yes, all you have to do is go to audiophileinc.com, and that's AUDIOPHILEINK.com. Ask for Shane and tell him the Wild Man sent you. Also, big shout out to Audible. Guys, I've noticed a resurgence on the Audible channel here. And Audible, of course, you know, is an Amazon company. Just for listening to the Sean vs. Wild podcast, you will get a free 30-day trial of Audible. You simply go to audibletrial.com/Sean vs. Wild, audibletrial.com/Sean vs. Wild. And when you sign up for your free 30 days using audibletrial.com/Sean vs. Wild, they will give me some money, put some money right into my PayPal account and make it happen. Like I said, a couple people have been doing that. I think since the Bobby Brown episode and all that good sort of thing, that really has seen a resurgence. So guys, keep it up. audibletrial.com/Sean vs. Wild. Help support me, help support the show, and best of all, choose from over 180,000 audiobooks. Get yourself an audiobook while also, helping out your boy. We appreciate it there. And guys, again, thanks for tuning in each and every week. Thanks to Joe Brock for booping the dials. That's it from me. Let's go ahead and hear from Charlie Walker, and let's get wild. You know, Charlie, I'm glad you can finally join me on the podcast, and it's great that the second you sit down, we're just watching 80s hair metal videos, but with no sound on them.
It's a beautiful thing. I love what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, guys, because podcasts are such a visual medium, I just want you to know we're watching Patience by Guns N' Roses with no sound. And Axl Rose is really killing that bandana under the backwards hat look.
Lots of gyration. Very sexual.
You would think that they're playing like just a huge banger, like something that would just melt your face. But no, it's just patience.
Just patience.
And that's all it takes. All it takes is just a little patience.
Just a little.
You know what I'm saying? And hey, I'm glad that I had a little patience and we were able to make it happen here today. You had a little patience with me, just got off work, and now we're here rocking in the studio.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem, dude. So what have you been up to lately?
Man, pop locking and dropping. I keep doing this stand-up thing. I have been doing stand-up for about 10 years now. Do shows, I'd say about 2 or 3 times a week, man.
Yeah.
Just staying busy, trying to make people laugh.
Just trying to make it happen, brother.
That's it. That's
well,
it.
Hopefully you'll be making people laugh on this podcast.
I will try.
Just don't blow it, man. Gee.
Like, this is the thing. Like, a lot of people ask me, like, how stand-up comedy is. You're familiar with New Albany, Indiana, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I grew up in New Albany. I relate stand-up comedy in a lot of ways to New Albany, in the sense that I love being on stage knowing that everyone's laughing at me, right? It's exactly what it feels like to be a stripper at the Rustic Frog. Like 100%,
Yes, exactly. You're the only one.
This is not funny, sir. We are strippers. I disagree, Cinnamon.
I disagree, Cinnamon. Perfect, man. Well, guys, this is the Sean versus Wild podcast, and I am sitting down here with Charlie Walker. And what's so great is you're wearing a pair of denim jeans, and you're wearing a similarly colored hooded sweatshirt, and you're sitting on a denim seat here at the Smithsonian.
I kind of blend in. It's like a camouflage.
Yeah, it's nature's camo, bro.
I love it.
If you want to hide out here, just put a Canadian tuxedo on, brother.
Exactly.
That's all you're going to need to do.
Love it.
No one's going to know that you were here.
I planned on actually crashing here tonight. I hope that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Cool.
I haven't seen Charlie in weeks. Yeah, he's been just asleep on your chair in Audubon.
Yeah, are you sure? Can you see him? No, not there.
He's the
gone.
John Cena of
Can't see me.
of house guests. But yeah, guys, this is the Sean versus Wild podcast. I'm hanging out here with Charlie Walker, stand-up comedian from right here in the heart of Indiana, fellow Hoosier.
This is true.
Yeah, dude. Well, let's go ahead and get into it, man. You said you've been doing stand-up for 10 years now.
10 years.
How did you get started? What made you want to be a stand-up comedian?
So, like, you always hear those things. Your friends tell you, hey, man, you're really funny. You're really funny. You should do this. You should do that. And it all started with that back in, it's 2008. Is 10 years from now? Yeah. So 10 years ago, 2008, Comedy Caravan in Louisville was our local comedy club. It's still there now, just the Caravan. But some friends, kind of as a dare, were like, get up there, make people laugh, do something. And I fell in love. I loved it ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
As a stand-up comedian, are people always going to be like, hey, man, can you be funny now?
Yes. So this is the weird thing. Like, I do several different types of comedy. I do stand-up. I do improv, do musical comedy. Every time you tell someone I'm a comedian or they learn you're a comedian, it's, hey, tell me a joke.
Right.
If you're a musician, no one ever comes up to you and they're like, hey, sing me a song.
Hey, I hear you're a drummer. Can you go ahead and play some Wipeout
You
right
would
now?
get that, right? You would understand yeah. So it's weird in that sense. And a lot of times you want people to come to your shows, so I will kind of be like, oh, hey, what do you call, I'll tell some kind of slapstick joke just to get some kind of response so that in hopes they'll come see me live.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, fantastic. What are some of the comedians that kind of inspired you? Or were you just the funny guy in school?
So, I was kind of the class clown, but I mean, there's a big difference between, quoting movies funny versus telling your own jokes, being able to write your own jokes funny. But I'd say probably my biggest inspiration as far as comedy was Mitch Hedberg. Really, really loved Mitch Hedberg, loved his stuff. He's just one of those guys that's just naturally funny,
Right.
It's hard to find those kind of people. He didn't emulate anyone else. He was his own person. Like, when you hear him, it's Mitch Hedberg.
Right. And, a lot of people have done those kind of one-liners, like Stephen Wright and things like that. But Mitch Hedberg is so great because even when his jokes aren't funny, the guy himself, his genuine reaction to people not laughing is hilarious.
So his type of comedy, there's several different, you have prop comics, you have, comics that do several different things. His type of comedy is the situational. It's kind of like, I'm going to put myself in that situation. Here's what I think. My perspective of the reality around me.
Right.
So, there's a broken down escalator. It's still a really nice pair of stairs. Like,
Right.
That's his kind of stuff. You know,
Temporarily stairs.
love it. Love it.
Yeah, Mitch Hedberg, man, gone too soon.
Very soon.
I was actually just watching some old reruns of that 70s show, and by old reruns, I mean I was watching it on Netflix.
Yeah, for sure.
Binge watching it. But yeah, 3 seasons all in one go. But yeah, and Mitch Hedberg is on there, and I was just like, man, what a guy.
Yeah. They had him, and they had Tommy Chong was on quite a few episodes, which Cheech and Chong played a huge inspiration as far as, I mean, the music comedy that I do.
Sure.
Love Cheech and Chong, love Bob and Tom show. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to pin it down to one person, but if I had to say like the big guy, Mitch Hedberg. 100%.
You know, it's funny you brought up Cheech and Chong. I've got a funny story about Cheech and Chong. Well, hopefully it's funny. Geez, you're a comedian. You tell me. But, you know, it is one of those things where, like, you know, I had a stepdad and he was like, yeah, like, you like funny movies. Like, you know, you're watching Ace Ventura and stuff. Like, yeah, that's funny. You should check out Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. This is a funny movie.
It's a classic.
And while, yes, that is a funny movie, I'm like, I'm 10 years old.
Yeah.
And this is a movie all about smoking weed and other drugs.
Yes.
And I was just like, man, like now that I look back on it, I'm like, that really probably wasn't the best movie to show a 10-year-old kid.
It's a gateway comedy.
Oh,
it kind of sets you up for everything else. But yeah, probably not the best for a 10-year-old. You're going to develop some type of drug problem after that movie. But
Guaranteed.
yeah, absolutely.
That should be on the box.
It should be guaranteed drug problem. That's the rating, actually.
Yeah. Rated, yes. Rated M for most likely going to rehab soon.
Yeah. Rated GD, gateway drug.
Yeah. Are you a Cheech or Chong fan?
So it's hard to say because like there was the fallout, and I'm sure you know, like Cheech Marin kind of went his own way and tried to do something that I think was kind of silly in a way, but he still profited off it largely, and then came back to Cheech and Chong, those type of shows. But he became an actor. He wanted to move away from the marijuana smoking and everything else. He's like, that's not who I am. I'm a professional now.
Right.
So he was on some CSI, NCIS, one of those type shows.
Yeah.
Chong always remained Tommy Chong. He's always been the weed smoking hippie that you know and love.
Right.
Always. But it kind of in a way reminds me of I was going to make a point here, and I can't remember. Tommy Chong, Cheech and Chong. We'll just cut this out.
Yeah, it's fine, dude. Speaking of Tommy Chong, I watched him on an episode of Hot Ones eating a bunch of hot wings, and like the guy was, I'm pretty sure, so stoned he didn't even realize that he was eating some of the hottest sauce wings maybe on earth.
Right.
So
Tommy Chong, the whole Cheech and Chong thing, as far as them breaking up, it kind of in a way reminds me of another comedian, Chris Tucker. He was hilarious. If you've ever seen his stand-up, I don't know if you have, hilarious in his younger days. He then went on to star in Friday.
And Rush Hour, yes.
Well, yes, but I use this Friday as the link between Cheech and Chong and Chris Tucker. He did a movie that was mostly based around marijuana, you know, and drugs, but then decided to move away from that and do Rush Hour, which was a huge success, don't get me wrong. But as far as like the stand-up, the comedy aspect of it, his stand-up shows aren't really what they used to be because he's turned into someone who, you know, we have that vision in our head. Oh, it's Smokey kind of thing. Yeah. You know, it's Chris Tucker. It's not really the same. You know, it's a weird thing if you want to move and become someone else that you're not necessarily. Not staying true to yourself, I guess.
Right. Well, you know, somebody that's kind of like that. I mean, one of the most acclaimed actors, musicians, you know, just entrepreneurs is Jamie Foxx. And you go back and watch, what is it, Out of the Foxhole or something like that?
True.
And that's amazing. True. You know, early 90s. And he's showing off his chops at how great he is as a musician even back then.
He's phenomenal. He is phenomenal. He's a great comedian. He's a great actor, great musician, and he's nailed all of them. And he continues to thrive. Like, I haven't seen anything bad about Jamie Foxx here lately. I hope I'm not off on that. But
right.
He's great, man.
Well, you know, with Hollywood, I mean, heck, next week, hopefully, by the time this podcast come out, Jamie Foxx, hopefully you're still on the straight and narrow here.
Oh, man. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully you don't go all, you know, Tom Cruise on us.
No. Hopefully not. I'm just, trying to stay away from that.
So just on a bet, you decided, hey.
Yeah. It was a dare and a bet. They did this thing called Show Up and Go Up, sorry. But basically, they used to pay guys to get up and do open mic. Like the Comedy Caravan, they would pay you. I remember, I think like my third or fourth time, I made like $30 just doing a open mic. And it was like, this is
How many
crazy.
minutes did you have to prepare?
Oh, I mean, you prepare constantly. Like when you're in comedy, you never stop writing. I have notebooks just full, and I could grab a notebook from 10 years ago and be like, God, that wasn't funny. What was I thinking, you know?
Right, but how much time are they going to give you $30 for? Like,
Oh, no, and that's the thing. That's the crazy thing. They did maybe like 5-minute sets.
oh, okay.
So I'd go up and tell 5 minutes worth of jokes and make $30. And I was like, this is the coolest thing that has ever happened to me.
Righteous bucks.
Right, exactly. But that's, I mean, maybe that's why I fell in love with it. And then that got taken away. And it's like, oh, crap. What do I do now?
So
but you don't, open mics are open mics. You don't go to open mic and make money. That's unheard of.
Right.
So for me to start in that situation was kind of misleading.
And it's just all downhill from there.
It's all downhill from there. But no, open mics are, you know, you just basically, you tell your jokes, you work your craft and try to make everything perfect. Get your smooth set for the pro shows.
Yeah, for the pro shows.
For the pro shows.
So with you said you do a lot of different types of humor. What inspiration do you draw from? Where do your jokes come from? Are they situational?
So yeah, I do have a lot of situational or drawing similarity type of jokes, but I feel like a lot of it is just more or less from my father was like the guy who was like, listen to Cheech and Chong or listen to Bob and Tom Show. The Bob and Tom Show, I mean, that's a huge... I have a song called Just Want to See, and it just talks about boobs. Like, that's the entire song. And that's, like, the kind of stuff I like. I feel like it's just me and it's kind of like the whole Mitch Hedberg thing, you know? It's just my perception of the reality around me, what I think is funny, and hope that other people think's funny. And if it's not, I get rid of it and tell a new joke, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what open mics are for, though.
Right, exactly. It's there to fail.
Yeah. I mean, it is. And a lot of comics will tell you it's actually a good thing to fail.
Oh,
because there's nowhere you can go down from failing. Once you bomb, you can't go down from there. You just come back up.
Exactly.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But, I mean, knock on wood. Well, that's not wood.
Knock on some pressed board here. I'm sure it was wood at one point.
I think I've had jokes that definitely have failed. I don't want to say I've ever bombed per se, but I'm sure I have.
Hey, there's a first time for everything.
Oh, man, right?
Guys.
Whew.
That's awesome, though, man. And, you know, you were kind of saying, too, like, it's one thing to be the funny guy. You know, it's one thing to, quote movies or goof off with your friends, but it's totally different to actually prepare jokes.
Yes. And I feel like that's a lot of guys like, and I see some of these new guys with, doing their stand-up bit and everything else. And they realize they're like, I can't rely on this movie quote from old school. Like, I know it's really funny, but I can't just go up there and do that. So they try to write jokes. The problem with a lot of new guys is they don't really filter it out. So they talk about a lot of terrible things.
Right.
If you've ever been to an open mic and see, and they're like, this is so-and-so and this is first, second time. Not always, but a lot of the time, they talk about some dead babies and, rape jokes and just stuff that you're like, you need to stay away from that guy.
Yeah, it's 2018 now.
Yeah. I mean, it's that, but it's also like you have to do it, you have to do it in a way that's relatable. And it sounds kind of terrible, but Daniel Tosh, great at that.
Sure.
Saw him live. His thing was, there's something funny about everything. If you don't agree, you can leave right now.
Yeah.
And he's right to an extent. I mean, he told jokes about things that I wouldn't tell jokes about just because I can't find the funny in certain things.
Sure.
He can find the funny in everything. And he's a professional, obviously, but it's just being relatable to people. Yeah. There are a lot of guys out there that don't really understand that. And I mean, I'm still learning every day, but it's finding things that you and I can sit here and talk about that I can make a joke about that we both are like, oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems so simple, but it does. It takes some work for sure.
What's an average day like for a professional comedian?
A lot of work. Especially, so like the big thing, there's a comedian in Louisville that I've had the pleasure of working with throughout the years, and he was kind of a mentor with me growing into the role. Cleveland Jackson, great guy, really funny, but he always told me, like, immerse yourself, and like it really stuck with me. We did a show at Diamonds once, comedy show, And he was sitting at the bar, and I came up and talked to him, and he pretty much said, Charlie, how are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on? I said, oh, man, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. And he said, man, that all sounds great, but listen, do it. Like, don't just talk about it. Do it. You have to immerse yourself. You have to eat, breathe, and sleep this if you want to make it. And he's exactly right. It stuck with me. So we have a lot of projects coming up and things that I'm trying to do different. As far as, getting myself out there more. I try to do 2 or 3 shows a week, and they may be open mics, they may be paid gigs, but I'm constantly out there. It drives my wife crazy. It drives me crazy sometimes, and it's on top of a full-time job, so I'm trying to find the balance to one day hopefully be on that platform where I could just do what I love all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I'm excited that you're on the podcast because doing comedy or pursuing any of your dreams, like my background was in music. Now I'm doing this podcast, but it's we're all doing the same thing. We're immersing ourselves in what we want to do.
Yeah.
Instead of working, like we don't want to work our 9 to 5s
exactly
for the rest of our lives.
And I'm sure you understand this entertainment industry. You just, like I said, Cleveland had given me the advice. You just have to immerse yourself. I mean, you have to be all about what you're doing kind of thing to succeed. Yeah,
because if you're not all about it, no one else is going to be all about it.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's great advice for anybody listening. I mean, we touched on a lot of good things. For one, don't be afraid to fail.
Oh,
and
no.
Failure, you always learn from your failures. You don't learn really hardly from the successes,
Yes.
If someone was like, yeah, man, everything just fell in my lap, it was really easy. I mean, you see people in the entertainment business all the time. It's like, hey, by the time they're 23, they don't know what is up or what is down, or what their life's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because they never had to work for anything. It was manufactured, and now like the fame is getting to them, But the thing is if you're working every single day, perfecting your craft, honing your craft, and really being a master at what you do.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to do that by every single day being out there grinding, hustling.
That's the best way to say it. I mean, really is.
And just fail your ass off.
Just fail your ass off. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just like you said, failing is like a good thing to do. There are times where a joke may not go over, or a project that I have in mind, like I put all this work into it, a song or a sketch, and it just doesn't go over as well as I thought it would. But that's a learning curve. Like you need those experiences so that you can come back better than you were before.
Exactly.
100% need that.
Well, I mean, even with, not every song that you're going to write as a musician is going to make the album.
I do comedy songs, and let me tell you, like I have a song about an ex that talks about her dying in a car fire and catching a brick between her eyes. Like I have like songs that are kind of morbidly funny, and then I have things like I Want to See Your Boobs or I'm Banging Your Mom. That's one that I do that's kind of a fan favorite.
Just
classic. So, I mean, I understand, and I hope that everyone else gets, I know not all of these are going to be hits. I know not everything that comes out of my mouth is going to be golden, but I'm trying, and I'm constantly trying. So I hope they stick with me, and I'm going to find that following,
Yeah. And I mean, look at somebody like, Haywood Banks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, all it takes is one toast.
Yeah, toast. He's great, man.
All it takes is one toast, and your foot is in the door.
Oh, that's so true. And it's like a lot of those guys that you hear that do the songs, Haywood Banks, what's his name? Mama's Got Her Boobs Out, Rodney Carrington.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys like that they've stuck with it for so long, and they do it. And musical comedy is kind of interesting because musicians either hate you or love you because they're like, oh, this guy thinks it's a big joke. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like I've tried to find that middle ground. I've worked shows with musicians before, and that happens. I mean, not everyone's going to love what you do or understand what you do, and that's fine. But stand-up comedians, I mean, I feel that way sometimes about,
Are you making a mockery of comedy?
Right. He's not a real comic. He is up here playing a keyboard. But it's like I can alter my act. I could do, I could get out right now and do 20 minutes of just stand-up. I don't need this. I just think it's interesting. I think it sets me apart from everyone else so that if someone hears the I'm Banging Your Mom song, they can go, oh, it's that guy. You remember that song? I like that little stitch, a little something different to my act than, everyone else's act.
And, I think it's even more appealing, too, when you see a stand-up comedian, and they actually are good at what they're doing. Like I said, when I watched the Jamie Foxx special, blown away. And then people like Stephen Lynch, who's an amazing singer, great at guitar, writing songs that could just be,
And that's Jamie Foxx. He knew that he had a voice years ago. He did some of his stand-up comedy on piano.
Right, yeah.
And, I mean, he was great. He was fantastic. Dustin Lynch is amazing. Bo Burnham, great. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have that little niche, and it works. It just works, With me, I'm still figuring it out, but I love what I do. I'm happy doing what I do. So that's why I keep on going.
That's awesome, man. And I love stand-up comedy. I grew up always watching Comedy Central, love my stand-up.
Oh, yeah.
And I like going to it, so I'm going to have to definitely check out all the stuff that you're doing. So keep me posted, and I'm going to keep everybody posted, of course, on the show here. Another comedian that I was really surprised was super good at their instrument was Dana Carvey.
Oh, yes. So, yeah.
The drum solo in Wayne's World, like the fact that when I found out that it actually was him, I was like, oh my God, this is insane.
Yeah, and he incorporated a lot of music in his act as well. When he would do stand-up, he would do it as well. Steve Martin, that's one that gets missed a lot of times.
Yeah.
But the dueling banjos thing?
Yeah. I don't know if you know
Amazing.
this, but so Kermit the Frog plays the banjo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason why, you probably know this, I don't know, but for listeners out there, the reason why Kermit the Frog plays the banjo is because Steve Martin was a guest on The Muppet Show, and they wanted to have a skit together, and Steve Martin is a very accomplished banjo player.
Very good.
So,
very, very good.
Kermit and him had a skit together where they're both playing banjos together.
Yeah.
And from then on, Kermit plays banjo.
Yeah.
So Rainbow Connection. Thanks, Steve Martin.
See, I didn't actually know that. I did know that Kermit plays banjo, but I did not know it came from Steve Martin. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I know.
It's great.
And people don't even think about that, about Steve Martin being as good as he is, and his bluegrass albums and stuff like that that he comes out with. They're fantastic.
Good. Yeah, they're really good. He did this act, and I highly recommend anyone to watch this. It's called The Great Flydini that Steve Martin did. Mm-hmm. In this stand-up routine, he does not speak at all. It's essentially a sketch. It's a magic show. He calls himself the Great Flydini because he keeps pulling things out of his fly of his pants, his crotch. So he pulls out, a phone and a glass of water. I mean, it's insane. It's hard to explain how funny it is, but you have to watch it. It's really, really good.
Man, it seems like you're just a real student of the game also.
You have to be. You have to and I'm sure you're the same way. I'm sure you could tell me every drummer's ever been and solos and everything else, things that I don't know. But I feel like you need to research. You need to look into it and be like, this is funny. This is why it's funny. Why is this funny?
Let me ask you a question. Is Carlos Mencia funny?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No, he's not. So here's the thing. And it
Carlos, if you're listening, sorry about that.
I'm sorry, Carlos. I think we're friends on Facebook. I think I'm actually friends with his real
dude.
account. It's weird.
You're going to be toast after this.
Yeah,
His people are going to call your people.
No, I think I tagged him in something that was very not good. But he has stolen jokes.
Right. He
stole jokes from George Lopez, and I know this because I've seen George Lopez's stand up and I've seen Carlos's stand up. So there was this joke, and actually I think 3 or 4 comics have done this joke, but the joke about the wall, do you know what I'm referring to?
I'm not sure about the joke about the wall. I've definitely heard him do some of old school, like the football player joke and a few other things.
So the wall joke was essentially when Trump got elected, he was talking about Mexico and the wall and everything. He's like, apparently President Trump says there's going to be this wall built, between U.S. and Mexico. And my question was, well, who's going to build it? It's just a little simple premise of a joke. And, referring to Mexicans aren't going to build it, obviously.
Right.
Carlos took that joke from George.
Ah, perfect.
Love George Lopez. I've been a big George Lopez fan since way back. I loved his show. I thought it was great. I don't know if
his show on TBS.
Yeah,
yeah, he was a good host.
Yeah,
I like George Lopez. I liked his. I didn't know if you're talking about his talk show or his actual sitcom, because his sitcom was pretty funny too.
Yeah, his sitcom was actually pretty good.
But his stand up is awesome.
No, he's good. He's really good. And I think I was listening to a podcast, actually. It might have been Bill Burr's podcast or maybe Joe Rogan. I can't remember, but they were talking about a situation where George Lopez ran into Carlos Mencia and just straight punched him. Just straight punched him in the face. And I was like, that's justice right there.
That's justice for you, right?
But yeah, it's that's frowned upon. I mean, I plagiarism. You don't steal another comic's jokes. You just don't. I mean, and a lot of people don't really think about what that does, but I mean, you have to think any joke that I've ever written or anyone's ever written, we put a lot of time into it, and we say the joke a certain way, and we're like, that don't work. I'll do it this way. I'll do it this way. You could be working on the same joke for a year until you get it to a point where you're like, this is perfect. I'm going to keep this for my pro shows. If someone comes up and you see them on a open mic and they say your joke and you know it's your joke and you're like, man, that's awful. Like, that hurt.
Does that ever happen to you?
I'm not funny enough for that to happen. No. But I witnessed that. I'm not going to say names. There was a guy who does a lot of shows, and he's a very funny guy. And I was at an open mic and heard another, newer comic take his joke, and he was there that night. It was just awkward.
Yeah.
It's like us comics know, especially if someone goes up and does a friend's joke, you're like, no, that wasn't cool.
Yeah. Not cool.
Kind of shady there, but yeah, it happens.
There's a dark underbelly of this comedy world here that I'm finding all about.
Right. I mean, we're all Louisville comedy, man, and Louisville is funny. It's so diverse. You have black comics, you have white comics, you have women, you have, younger, older, every type of comic you can think of in Louisville, and they're everywhere. So, I mean, it's such a big group, and everyone's very supportive of each other. We all know each other. We see each other at open mics and things like that. Even if I don't know a certain comic, I'll be like, oh, I know this person through this person. Or,
right. I've worked with him before. I've seen him before at other shows.
Yeah.
And what
it's
have
like
you.
the 6 degrees of separation kind of thing. Yeah.
It's just like the music scene here, man. Everybody's played with,
Exactly.
I play with this band and that band and such. And when shows come up, you got to, you'll see the same people there.
I think Louisville's just talented altogether. I mean,
I agree.
This whole area is just so much talent. Artists, musicians, comics, there's just so much talent in this area that is yet to be tapped. So I really feel good about this area.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I want to talk to you here, just speaking of your work, because we're already right at the halfway point probably of the podcast. So, heck, we're making that thing happen, dude. Gave everybody a little background on the comedy, dude. Gave everybody a little history lesson here. Yeah, some inside stories here. But you have a music video coming out and a new track that will be available for everyone. It's called "Keep Your Voice Down."
It is,
and we're going to play it on the podcast here. But before we do that, I mean, should we let people hear it for the first time, or you want to explain to them you want to set it up? What they can expect here out of this.
So I'll give you a brief. I don't want to give too much away. Basically, we were looking at making a track that is both R&B and comedy. It is something very different. It features myself as well as a good friend of mine, Leroy Brooks. And that's all I'm going to tell you. I hope you enjoy it.
All right, guys. Well, here's Charlie Walker featuring Leroy Brooks, and this is called Keep Your Voice Down.
Time is near, you leaning close and you whisper in my ear. Ask me if I wanna take it to my place. You can tell I'm down by the look on my face. Jump into my car, speed out the parking lot, turn up the radio. It's getting hot, I'm a freak but I think you're worse. Sex toys hanging out your purse. Smile on my face as we pull up. Sexual tension is so built up. Get to my spot and I open up the door. Rip off my clothes and get foam on the floor. Get to my room and I lay it down. All aboard the train, we're going about town. You rip off my pants and I throw to my drawers and
I think I hear my mom.
Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Want true love, girl, you found it. Keep down your voice or I'm gonna get grounded. Shh. Or you'll wake up my mom. Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Want true love, girl, you found it. Keep down your voice or I'm gonna get grounded.
Don't say a word and jump on my bunk bed. We could take the bottom bunk, kinda cramp, watch your head. Yeah, I live with my mom, didn't think you care. Still sleep in my onesie and I snuggle with my teddy bear. Turn on the night light so I can see you looking. Your kisses taste good like my mama's home cooking. Like a trampoline, when I jump into your love, leaves me breathless. You're my angel from above, like a video game. You're my top priority, mom's the final boss. If you wanna see some more of me, get your PJs, you can stay all night. I got an extra pillow, everything's alright. It's just the way that you make me feel. Call our love Santa, cause you know that it's real. I love you, girl, and you know you're the bomb. Keep down your voice or you'll wake up my mom. Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Want true love, girl, you found it. Keep down your voice or I'm gonna get grounded. Shh. Or you'll wake up my mom. Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Want true love, girl, you found it. Keep down your voice or I'm gonna get grounded. Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Want true love, girl, you found it. Keep down your voice or I'm gonna get grounded. Shh. Or you'll wake up my mom. Keep your voice down or you'll wake up my mom. Want true love, girl, you found it. Keep down your voice or I'm gonna get grounded.
All right, everybody. That was Keep Your Voice Down. I'm back in the studio with Charlie Walker. Yeah, that rap at the end, bro. That's all you, bro.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a rapper.
Look at me. I'm a rapper now.
I'm a rapper, Mom.
Yeah, that really took me back to, Nate Dogg, Warren G.
Yeah, Regulators. It was a very regulator type track.
I was going to say, I thought you guys were going to have to regulate.
Sometimes. You never know when it calls.
And guys, I know you can't see it, but November Rain is playing in the background, and that song synced up perfectly to, those transitions of Slash, just ripping guitar in the middle of the desert.
It was magical.
Yeah, man.
Brought a tear to my eyes.
That really just took it to a next level for me.
Me as well.
Yeah, it's so great. Keep your voice down while, Axl Rose's girlfriend is, getting buried. Yep.
Adds a new dynamic.
That's true. Well, hey, speaking of music videos here, you guys have a video coming out for that.
We do. We are actually going to shoot a music video for Keep Your Voice Down. Interesting enough, we will need several extras, which I would love to extend an invitation to Mr. Sean to be a part of that.
Oh, it's official, guys.
We would love to see you there.
Sean versus Wild. Sean's getting in the video.
But we will be releasing some more information as it comes closer to time. Should be around the end of May that we actually shoot the music video as well.
Heck yeah. Well, what are the deets, man? Give everybody the deets on what's going to happen.
The deets. Basically, we are working with a production company called Soul Model Media. Working with Phil Metzger. He is the director of the video, very professional guy. We went through the same company for the track as well. Adam Kestel is our music engineer, created that lovely track that you hear. Andrew Robinson is our director of photography that's going to be working with us on the music video as well. We are all very excited. We have put a lot of time and effort into this and can't wait for you guys to see the finished product.
Yeah, and you also got some Louisville celebrities here in the video.
We do.
Not just Sean versus Wild here.
We do. Sean versus Wild is a pretty big one. But we do also have Danaviv. She is a model in the Louisville area. She is going to be featured in this video as well. This is going to be a very visual representation for the lyrics that you hear, so you can imagine how weird and crazy this is going to get.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited to see it. I'm ready to laugh.
Man, it's going to be great.
I'm ready to laugh my buns off.
Do it.
And yeah, she's going to be like the Tawny Katane of this video.
Yes, exactly. That is a great similarity. Like, yeah, exactly. Same person.
Nice, man.
Modern day.
Right. So I take it, are you the mastermind behind the writing, the lyrics there?
I am.
Or?
Yeah, I wrote the song. The song actually we used, I was with a comedy troupe back in 2012, I want to say, Ultra Combo, which is a rip of Killer Instinct for those of you who play video games. Ultra Combo was a comedy group I was with. They are still around. Still do shows with them as well. But basically, we did that song way, way back in the day and kind of put it on a shelf for a while. And we had a great idea. Hey, why don't we do like a music video? We'd love to do this Lonely Island meets R&B kind of thing, you know? So, yeah, we're doing it. We're done talking. We're ready to do it.
Yeah, man. And that's what it's all about, man. Don't just talk about it. Be about it, brother.
Action.
And the guys in Ultra Combo, that's Clay Paris with you?
You're right.
Hey,
yes,
man, look at me.
Clay Paris, Vernon Thompson. It was actually us three, myself, Vernon Thompson, Clay Paris. Vernon Thompson's still going strong. Clay is actually doing comedy again. I saw him not too long ago, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, he's back in it. He kind of took a step back for a while. He got married, life happens kind of thing. But yeah.
I've heard that.
It does. It does. Life does happen.
Are you a big video gamer?
I am. I am just coming off of Final Fantasy 15. I don't know your preferred game of choice.
Final Fantasy 1 is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for Super Nintendo.
Yes. Great game.
Yeah.
Great game.
I'm basically my old school stuff, but for like PlayStation 4, I'll play like Uncharted.
So you're an RPG guy? Somewhat.
Old school RPG.
Old school.
Now it's a little too difficult for me.
I agree with that too. Well, and I will say, if you haven't played Final Fantasy 15, I would try it. Like it's the best bridge game that I've played as far as Final Fantasy is concerned.
Sure. Because
over the years they've done, there's 15, more than 15 games really.
Right.
They've done so many different things and tried different ways to make the game cool. But this is like for the diehard Final Fantasy people and for the people that are just coming in. It's a good mix. Like I loved the game. I thought it was great. But I agree with you. RPGs on the old school Super Nintendo, Breath of Fire,
Chrono Trigger,
man. Chrono Trigger,
Super
fantastic.
Mario RPG.
Love that. Such an underrated game too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm a classic gamer for the most part. Now, I do have the PS4. I will play RPG that I love playing is the South Park RPGs.
I haven't played it.
Oh yeah, the Stick of Truth and then the Fractured Butthole.
I've seen. I feel like I've read up on this on Game Informer or something.
It looks just like a South Park episode, and you're in it. You
That's
create
awesome.
your own character, and it's fantastic.
Very good.
Yeah, the second one is like the Avengers type of thing. It's got like kind of that Marvel movie theme where, of course, everybody has, like in South Park, there's Butters is like Captain Furious or something like that.
Nice.
And then Cartman is the king.
Yes.
And so anyway, basically they all have like their own superhero troops and everybody gets their own movie and then it becomes a big thing and then they're fractured. But whole. And that's the
nice.
plot of the game.
Wordplay there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I like that.
So, but other than that, I'm more a classic gamer. Regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega.
Yeah.
And it just gets too difficult for me after a while.
Well, and that's the beauty in the day and age we live in now. Emulators are everywhere. You can play any of your old school games. Like if you would have told me when I was a kid, you're going to be able to play what you're playing right now on your TV on a phone.
Oh, yeah.
I would have laughed at you. I'd
Dude,
been like, you're crazy.
Pro tip, guys. I got a USB, like a Bluetooth, not USB, it's a Bluetooth Super Nintendo controller.
Oh, yeah.
And I just pair it to my phone, and I have all the emulators and stuff on my phone.
That's love.
And the government, if you're trying to get off my case, you need to go check out my vintage video game collection. You'll know I have the physical copy to go with it, bro.
It don't matter. Take my new technology. I still got the physical copy.
Yeah, exactly, bro. You can't come knocking on my door saying, hey, you don't own this ROM. I do, sir.
So do you find more value in having the physical item?
I like to collect. I got a collector's gene.
Yeah.
So I'm a big, some people are like, oh, you mean like hoarding? I'm like, well, maybe if I was hoarding garbage, but mostly, I just hoard stuff from, my youth. I think it's just one of those things. We grew up, we're probably similar age. I'm 31, about to be 32.
Yeah, I'll be 31 in May, which when this probably
When's
comes
your birthday,
out,
May?
May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
That's
and
my
the
birthday.
Derby. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I think we've talked to it. I think I knew this.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've actually talked about it, but I think I knew this.
Guys, this just got next level.
It's getting weird.
This
it's going to get
podcast
weird
is
on
getting
May 5th.
strange here.
Oh, May 5th is going to be real weird.
But and it's Derby.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
And it's Cinco de Mayo.
There's some kind of horse tequila crossover that's going to happen.
I feel like we should at least drink.
Take that any way you will.
And look at the Derby,
yes.
I guess.
Yes.
At least have it on in the background while we drink.
Right. So your birthday's around that, so it's fallen on Derby before.
Oh, yeah.
Have you actually been to the Derby?
I've never been to the Derby.
I've never been to the Derby.
So here I am at 32. It'll fall on Derby, but my 21st birthday was on Derby. So that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, it's Derby Day, it's Cinco de Mayo, and it's your 21st birthday.
Right.
So, of course, we're going to party because that's what people in Louisville are going to do anyway, on that day. So
I feel
Fantastic.
ashamed. Like anytime I'll go to another club anywhere, and typically I tell people I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and that's not necessarily true. I was born in Louisville, but I grew up in Southern Indiana.
Right.
But the thing is, if you want anyone to understand where you're from, you don't say, "Oh, I'm from New Albany, Indiana." They'll just look at you like, "No."
Yeah, exactly.
So, corn.
Hey
and-
guys, I'm from Jeffersonville, Indiana.
You like cows? Like I don't. No, you say Louisville, and then they're like, "Oh, the Derby. You been to the Derby?" I'm like, "No."
No. Oh, like the Louisville Slugger bat. You must be a big baseball fan. Not
No.
really.
Yeah. Like I enjoy a good ball game when I'm there watching, but like I don't watch it on
When
TV.
the
I don't
beers
follow
are
it.
$1.
Exactly.
The hot dogs are
On
$1.
Thirsty Thursdays at the Louisville Slugger Field.
Yeah,
Watching
I'll
our,
enjoy a game.
our great River Bat team.
Yeah, man.
Some years they're great. I don't think they were great last year.
Well, that's all right. When the beers are $1 and the hot
No
dogs
one
are also
cares.
$1, yeah, no
It's
one
much
cares.
like comedy. The more you drink, the better it is.
Exactly.
It's very true.
But dude, speaking of comedy, you have a lot of stuff coming up, and May is a big month. Not just because it's our
Huge.
birthdays.
Our joint birthday.
Yeah, but yeah, now that we're gonna have a joint birthday, I
Joint
say maybe
birthday party.
maybe a roller skating rink.
Oh my God, we can do this. Can you boogie skate?
Well, I can learn.
That's a good answer.
You know,
That's a good answer.
I'm down for learning.
That's good.
I always thought as an adult it would be so great to have a roller skating birthday party, but then it's like, well, you do realize that if people drink and roller skate, like
Yeah,
there's
so-
a great possibility that it's going to go from tooth to tooth hurdy pretty quick. You're going to knock
Yeah.
a tooth out here.
Sean, we're over 30. If we go
Right.
to a skating rink for a birthday party, there's a good chance if we fall, we might not get back up.
That's true.
We might just die right there.
Yeah, looks like he tore his MCL or something here.
Exactly.
How did he do that? It was his birthday.
It was his birthday. He was just having a good time.
He was skating, obviously.
He's dead now.
Yeah. That was the last we saw of him.
Yeah.
So,
It's the last time we saw him alive.
yeah. But yeah, I don't even know where I was going to go with that other than, yeah, like, hey,
Comedy.
we're-
Comedy stuff in May.
Oh, yes, the
Yeah,
comedy
yeah.
stuff in May. But yeah, you got so much stuff going on. It's not just our birthday month.
Yeah.
It's also a big month for you. You got the music video coming out.
Got the music
You're
video.
releasing the single, dropping it like it's hot. This podcast will come out, and you're going to be performing at some pretty big events.
So, yes, there is this huge thing in Louisville, which if you've ever been a fan of stand-up comedy and you want to see comedy live, this is the place to be. The Tim Northern Comedy Festival. It is going to be amazing. It is going to start on May 28th and something really big. And I'm sure if you're from this area, you know, it's all going to start with the roast of Darryl Isaacs.
And is Darryl Isaacs going to be there?
The Hammer. Yes, he
Oh,
will
my God.
actually be there.
Dude, the Kentucky Hammer.
The Kentucky Hammer.
You know, I was listening the other day, listening to the news, and by the other day, I mean, like, I don't know, a couple years ago. But
Right,
yeah, Darryl
3 years
Isaacs
ago.
was traversing, downtown Louisville on a bike.
Right. And I remember hearing about this.
Yeah, and some guy definitely hit him with his car.
Yeah.
And my big thing is I would just hate to be that guy.
Yeah.
Because Darryl Isaacs is literally going to fight for every dollar he deserves.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You're going to get the pants suit off of you, sir.
You hit the hammer.
Yeah.
Now the hammer's going to hit you for everything you got.
He's going to hit harder, man.
He's going to hit much harder.
Dude. Yeah, and that you just know that you're just like in deep shit at that point.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's no
It's
getting
over.
out of it.
It's over. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might as well just give him your wallet, your keys.
Yeah, here's my home.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and take it, Hammer.
You're going to get it anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well save it. Here, go ahead.
I wonder if he's called the Hammer because he makes just as much money as MC Hammer used to make off of suing people that hit him on his car.
Based on Super Bowl commercials alone, I would say that Darryl Isaacs makes more money than MC Hammer.
Dude, guys, if you have not seen the Darryl Isaacs Super Bowl commercial, I know by the time this comes out, Super Bowl will be old news, but this commercial is timeless. Darryl Isaacs has scraped together some serious funds and is now basically doing a Game of Thrones type of commercial scenario here.
Yeah.
And he's riding dragons.
Yeah, straight up.
And I mean, there's legit props, there's legit actors. He made a big spectacle of this thing.
He did. It was kind of like a trailer for a B movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
A B movie that I would love to watch.
I might watch it. I hate saying that, knowing that it's the Kentucky Hammer on a dragon, but I can kind of get behind it.
Yeah, 100%. Sign me up. I would love to see it.
It was interesting in the fact that you see the beginning of it, and it really looks legit at the beginning of the commercial until he comes in flying on the CG dragon. But at the beginning, you're like, man, this looks like Game of Thrones the movie or something.
Yeah.
Like
but
this-
the graphics are legit, guys. I mean, I would say it's better than,
Yeah.
Spawn.
Oh, gosh, yes. Much better. That was a great movie, by the way. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I love Spawn.
You may be alone in that.
I might be alone.
They're
I loved
remaking it. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not. So didn't they have like a Spawn 2 that was like animated, right?
Well, they did a Spawn HBO series.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm thinking of. A lot of times I find, and I don't know if it's just because I'm a big kid, walking around in a man suit, but a lot of times I find I love the animated things that come out, like the animated DC movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Love them.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome.
Love them. I mean, the storyline's great. Batman Under the Red Hood, that's a good one to go with. But, I mean, they're so good. Like, the writing behind them, everything that happens, you're like, man, if they made this a live-action movie, then they come out with, Batman
Justice
versus
League.
Superman or Justice League.
Man, I didn't have too big of a qualm with those movies. Like, everybody was like, man, these are the worst movies I've ever seen. I was like, man,
Justice League.
I sat through a lot of worse.
I liked Justice
Yeah,
League.
I thought it was pretty good.
I have a Superman tattoo. Like, I'm a diehard Superman fan. And a lot of people give me shit for it all the time because I'm, the fan of the demigod. I love Superman. Been reading his comics since I was a kid. Hated Batman versus Superman, though. I couldn't get behind it. I tried.
What do you think about them CGing Superman's mustache?
It's painfully obvious. I will say that. But it's one of those weird things. He's an actor. He has other jobs. What was he going to do? He was already contractually obligated to keep his stash.
Yeah.
You can't hate the guy for that, but yeah, it's like last minute they were like, crap, this movie has to come out. What are we going to do? CG it. All right, let's do it.
My thing is, don't you think it'd be easier to put on a fake mustache than it would be to, I don't know, CG a mustache out?
I mean, they already knew the movie wasn't going to be like blockbuster great. Like, it did well. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I mean, it did all right.
But they
did
knew
better than anything that I would do.
Did anything better than we'll ever do. But they knew it wasn't going to be, the highest grossing. It's not going to be Black Panther or anything like that,
that's
which
true.
that was before Black Panther. But anyway, I think they should have just put it in the backstory. Superman grows a stash.
Yeah, he's just
added into the story.
He's just gone for a while. He grew
Yeah.
a mustache.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
just-
happens, man. Don't shave for a little bit.
It happens with the bloodline. You just grow a stash overnight. They could have just wrote it in.
Well, when Superman comes back from the dead, he's got a mullet,
This is true. This
that
is
happened.
true.
That's canon.
This is true. There are reincarnations of Superman with said mullet.
Yeah, very 1990s haircut.
Oh, God, it was bad. Those
But-
comics were great, though. The comics were good.
Have you read All-Star Superman by
have.
Grant Morrison?
I have,
One of my
actually.
favorites. Grant Morrison's one of my favorite just writers in general. I love him. He's so out there.
Yeah.
And makes you think about life and
yeah.
shit. And like all his storylines and stuff are super deep. I have his whole run on Animal Man, which is like, I'm like, dude, Animal Man's my favorite superhero. And they're like, who is that?
Yeah.
Most people are like, who is it? I'm like, you just got to read it because it's Grant Morrison's thing. And, he revamped a character that time had well forgotten and just made him super relevant in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So have you ever got a chance to read that?
I'm going to tonight. I'm going to
Perfect.
look into Animal Man tonight because that's one I don't know. I know some pretty vague superheroes.
And they just redid Animal Man for the new 52. So that's pretty cool. So there's some newer Animal Man comics out there. And it actually got a lot of praise. People said that it was the best of the new 52 line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty high praise for, some superhero that most people don't even think about.
That's true. Well, at one point in time, Silver Surfer was said to be like the worst hero ever. Like it was voted, I guess,
Right.
the worst of
Just
the
a bunch
heroes.
of dorks got in the basement and
Yeah,
voted it.
right.
The
Well,
tribe's spoken.
That's typically how it happens. You know,
Right.
if you want to know the truth, it's all dorks and nerds, and they're like, okay, let's separate this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you have to look at those people because those are the people that are reading the comics.
Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfers.
It's the hardest to say, so we're going to vote him down.
You play video games?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Going back to Darryl Isaacs, my big thing about Darryl Isaacs is, what if we... now, I will say this. I went to Indianapolis a couple weeks ago, and I saw a Darryl Isaacs commercial, and I'm like, man, what if Darryl Isaacs is, he's the Kentucky Hammer, he's the Hammer, but what if he's, like, national, and I just didn't know about it? similar thing happened to me with the Shane Co. So, of course, the commercials, the Shane Company on Hurstbourne Parkway and Taylorsville Road.
Open Monday through Friday till 8, Saturday and Sunday till 5. Also online at shaneco.com.
Exactly.
That's terrible, isn't it?
I was in Utah and heard a commercial for the Shane Co.
But it was at a different location.
And it was
you
at
were
a
like,
different-
what do I do?
Yeah, and I was just like, you mean to tell me that he's not local?
Imposter!
Yeah. You mean to tell me Shane is not from here?
Right,
Like, there's
right.
more than one? There's one all the way across the country?
Yeah.
What if Darryl Isaacs is, like, international like that? He just resides here.
I'm going to have to say no, just because the simple fact, this dude put on a Super Bowl commercial, and he's still the Kentucky Hammer. He's not the American Hammer.
Yeah,
He's
that's
the
true.
Kentucky Hammer.
Not yet, anyway.
You're not doing multiple Super Bowl commercials to change it up. You know what I mean?
We'll see.
I'm the Nebraska Hammer. That'd be pretty weird.
That's true. We'll see what 2019 holds.
For Darryl Isaacs.
For Darryl Isaacs.
After this roast,
the American Hammer,
it's all up from there.
Exactly, man. And but Superman, I felt like it would be easier if he just put a mustache on. I'm just all over the place, but I have so much to talk about here in just
That's
so little
good.
time.
That's good, right?
Exactly.
Right in the backstory.
Yeah.
The only way he defeats Doomsday is to grow a stash.
I'm just
Period.
saying, dude. I mean, when Doomsday knocked him out, he had a mullet when he came back from the
So
grave.
I feel like that was my biggest thing with that movie and why I didn't like it, because that fight was so anticlimactic. It's Batman's jumping around avoiding it. Wonder Woman's kicking ass. Wonder Woman's doing her thing.
They did Wonder Woman up fantastically.
Superman is making out with Lois Lane while all this crap's going down, and he's just like, I'll get there.
The thing is
Talking to my girl.
right, exactly. I'll get there. Whatever.
get there.
What's the rush?
Yeah. What's everyone so freaking out about?
It's just buildings and statues and
Right?
stuff. Like, we'll replace it.
Mr. Save Humanity is just sitting there like, I'm with my girl. I can wait.
I gotta take care of some business first.
Got to take care of some business.
But like
With my stash.
that's what it's there for.
That's
for the
for
rides.
the business.
For the rides. I think though with for example, Wonder Woman, like if they just never made another DC movie and they just keep making Wonder Woman movies, they're gonna be in business for years.
Gal Gadot?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. She makes me feel some sort of way.
Yeah, some type of way.
Something about her just makes me want to be a real American patriot.
I made my wife buy a Wonder Woman costume. I made her.
Guys, you've heard it first here on the podcast. Your wife is probably like, I cannot believe you, Charles.
I cannot believe you just said that, Charles.
But yeah, so going back to the the Tim Northern
Yes.
Invitational.
So yeah, right. Tim Northern Comedy Festival kicks off with Darryl Isaacs, of course, the roast of Darryl Isaacs. We're going to be performing in several different comedy clubs and venues in the Louisville area. It's all Louisville-based comedians, so you get to come out and see that Louisville really is funny. There's a lot of great comedians out there. I'll be a part of it as well. Really hope you guys come check us out.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be
I
great.
want to see you make Darryl Isaacs cry.
Now, I can say I will not be involved personally in the
Okay.
Darryl Isaacs roast. Making him cry, I feel like, has repercussions.
Yeah, he'll sue
that
your
I'm
ass.
I'm not prepared to deal with financially.
Yeah, he'll just happen to bike in front of your car.
Right. That's such a funny image. Darryl Isaacs just
On a bike?
On a bike, yeah.
I always thought Darryl Isaacs, and this isn't just going to turn into an insult podcast about Darryl Isaacs. The
Let's
roast
just
has started
rip on
early.
Darryl Isaacs. Yeah, let's
The
start
roast
the
is-
roast right now.
I always thought that. Did you ever watch Garfield and Friends as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then there was U.S. Acres.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
And Orson has like the evil brothers.
Yes.
Darryl Isaacs looks like Orson's evil
He
brothers.
does. You're right. You're right. I never made that connection, but you are exactly right.
That's exactly what he looks like. And when I see him, that's all I can think about. You look like Orson's evil brothers.
Well, I'm going to turn this podcast into the comedians that are working the roast, and we're just going to throw that in there.
Hey, man,
We'll give you full credit.
you joke thieves! Don't make me have to come start punching
I'm
faces.
sitting here telling you how bad it is to steal jokes.
Yeah, no,
and,
don't worry, guys. Go ahead and snag those if you want, man. But it's true. And you might have to have a visual representation because people are like, oh, man, that's the best they come up with. Look like Orson's evil brothers. If you were to see it, you would never unsee it.
See, and that's another type of comedy right there.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
I feel like I grew up. I love Garfield and Friends so much. It's like my favorite, one of my favorite shows ever as a kid.
Yeah.
Some people are like, man, I was really into, I don't know, Transformers. Dude, Garfield was my jam.
Oh man, as a 30-year-old man right now, cats, lasagna, and sleeping all day, like that's my life.
I know.
I live for that.
I mentioned this to somebody the other day. I was like, dude, I feel like I loved it so much. I just kind of grew up to be Garfield.
The human version of Garfield.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's just like, it's Monday. I hate Mondays.
Right.
Man. That's my life.
But that's universal, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Are you a 8 to 5 kind of guy?
Oh, me?
9 to 5, 8 to 5?
At my job?
Yeah.
Yeah, I work, I'm usually 9 to 5, but also, too, I've been now working 12 to 9.
Ooh.
And working like a later shift at work. And I prefer it because I can sleep in.
Yeah.
But also it just sucks because you're like, hey, I'm not going to get out of here until 9 o'clock and I can't watch Monday Night Raw, dude. I missed the first hour.
You get home when it's dark, man. I hate that.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I'm hoping that when the summer, rolls around.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is, guys, I'm not trying to bore you with my hopes and dreams here, but my biggest thing is by the time we're recording this podcast, you know what it's been like. It's been like snowing, then it rains, and then it's cold, and then it'll be warm for like 4 minutes, and then it sucks again. I just want to cut this grass, man. I feel like I'm living in the Jungle Book here.
Here's the thing, especially in this area, Kentuckiana, right? And I'm going to be honest. Winter is the gayest season to me. And Sean, I don't mean to offend you. And I'm kidding. Obviously, Sean is not gay. And even if he was, I wouldn't care. It's 2018, right?
That's so true.
You can be whatever you want to be.
Very true.
You should see my internet history. But winter, it's the gayest season to me. It's the only time of year a grown man can be on TV and say, I got another 3 to 5 inches coming your way later tonight. And I'm like, bring it on, Mark Weinberg. You know what I mean?
That's so true. But yeah, well, and I'll tell you what, spring and summer is looking pretty hot for you here. A lot of good shows coming up, a lot of good stuff coming up. Where can people keep up with you on online, on the line, on the internet?
What's a Charlie is my handle. What's a Charlie? I am on Twitter. I am on Instagram. Facebook.com/What's a Charlie is my Facebook page as well. You can follow me there for all the good stuff and funny times.
Yeah, fantastic. And guys, if you liked what you heard today, which something tells me you did because you made it all the way to the end of the podcast. But if you haven't yet, like, share, and subscribe to Sean vs. Wild. It's on the internet also. Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get it. Go ahead and like it and subscribe it. Subscribe to the YouTube. And follow me. Never miss a podcast. Ever.
Never
miss one.
Don't do it.
Yeah. And I'm going to be, check me out in the video for Keep Your Voice Down.
Check him out. He's going to be there. Superman stash and all.
Yeah, dude. I think we should both grow mustaches only.
I kind of want to now.
But then I feel like we should waste most of your budget on CGing them out.
Oh my gosh, this is brilliant. This is genius. We should do this.
This is comedy
CG.
gold. See, this is what is happening when we riff.
I live for this. This is May 5th babies right here.
That's so true, man. Our inner Taurians, our Taurusness is coming out here. Wouldn't that be so great? It's like, yeah, man, we had such a good budget, but I purposely grew a mustache, and then we had to CG it out.
We just thought it'd be really funny to waste the budget. So
yeah, it was cool. Oh, yeah, man. Where did all your those thousands of dollars go? Mostly to post-production.
Yeah, mostly.
What do you mean, like color correction? Mustache editing, mainly.
There's a department now. There's mustache editing. It's a specific title, too.
Absolutely. Well, Charlie, man, I'm glad that you stopped in and hung out and watched some silent music videos with me.
I love it.
And we got to have you come back on the show.
Oh, absolutely, man. I loved you having me. Big fan. Sean vs. Wild. Rock on, bro.
Yeah, rock on. And also, Charlie, I got to get you, I'm going to convince you to submit this song to Bob and Tom, man.
Oh man, I'm on that train, man.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's time for you to live your dream. I've already lived my dream as the Garfield. I grew up to be Garfield. Now you can grow up to be on Bob and Tom.
These are the serendipitous moments, when we're gonna sit here 10 years from now, we're gonna look back and be like, man, I remember when we were sitting at Sean vs. Wild talking about making our dreams come true.
And then it happened.
These are the moments that whenever we get rich and we're hanging out with models and all sprung out off whatever kind of alcohol we're drinking at the time, we look back and be like, man, I wish I was still doing Sean vs. Wild. Yeah, things were so simpler back then.
It was so great when I just didn't have all these girlfriends.
Yeah, it was so good without these supermodels in my life.
Dude, I used to have so little money.
You're right.
Things were so much more quaint.
Yeah, I missed it when I didn't have a mortgage, and all this. Wait, we have mortgages now.
Right, exactly. I just missed it when I didn't have, back in the day when, I didn't have to pay for everything in cash.
Yes. I miss the days
when I only had one bank account and it was mostly empty.
Exactly. It's the little things in life
That's so true.
that we're going to miss.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Charlie, thanks again for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Sean.
No problem. And this has been the Sean vs. Wild podcast.
Thank you for listening, DNN.